Hi, this is Bob Barr, Chairman of Liberty Guard, bringing you today another edition, the latest in our series of Idiots of the Week, reflecting, of course, Bob Barr's Laws of the Universe, law number one, numero uno, that is, the world is full of idiots. Today we're going to be looking at President Biden and something that is pretty idiotic that he said recently. So the President of the United States is the Commander-in-Chief. That's in Article 2 of the Constitution, that the President serves as the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. And to assist the President in defining and carrying out our national security needs and priorities, we have a Secretary of Defense, Armed Forces, and the Pentagon. What was very strange about something that President Biden said recently, however, was, and he said this not talking to a group of students or just random voters, he made this statement in speaking to a large audience of military personnel in uniforms. So he wasn't speaking to a group that would not be familiar with, or they certainly should not have not been familiar with, our national security needs and priorities. What the president said was, people at the Pentagon told me that the number one most serious threat to the United States of America is climate change, not China, not Russia, not whether Iran secures the ability to build nuclear weapons. It's not hacking into national security computer databases. No, what the president has told us and has told our men and women in uniform is that their number one priority as members of our armed forces is to deal with climate change. Now, I have to admit, I was grappling with whether or not the Idiot of the Week this week, reflecting that particular statement that the president made, was the president himself for saying it, or whoever at the Pentagon, being a military person, told him that the top priority, the number one threat facing the United States of America in this third decade of the 21st century is climate change. That opens all sorts of questions about how do we equip our men and women to fight climate change. I'm not sure that you can do it with a weapon, an airplane, a ship, but somehow I guess President Biden and the leaders at the Pentagon will give us the tools, will give him the tools to carry out and meet this number one national security threat of climate change. It would be very interesting to see if the Congress really looks into this because, the last time I looked or was familiar with this, the Congress, through the Armed Services Committees in both the House and the Senate, they reflect both in the funding for our armed forces as well as other authorities that they provide by law. They reflect very different priorities as the number one national security threat that we face other than climate change. So we'll have to see how this plays out, but I have to tell you, it does not leave me with a very strong sense of security or confidence in our military, knowing that under this administration, the number one threat that we must meet in the world is not China, it's not Russia, it's not Iran, it's not nuclear arms falling into the hands of rogue nations or NGOs. No, it's climate change. So the Idiot of the Week this week is shared both by President Biden for actually believing that the number one national security threat that we face is climate change, and his co-awardee, and that is the Pentagon, for telling the president that the most important threat that our men and women in the armed forces need to be prepared to meet is climate change. Utter nonsense, folks. But thank you for being with us, and we'll look forward to you being with us next time for another Bob Barr's Laws of the Universe, Law number 1, which is the world is indeed full of idiots. Thank you for being with us. This is Bob Barr, and I'd like to thank you for having checked out our program here today. We appreciate your support, your participation, and encourage you to go to libertyguard.org to learn more about our programs and also to help support to further individual freedom and fight against government abuse. One of the ways, but not the only way we do this, is through Bob Barr's Laws of the Universe, but through many, many other programs in support of individual liberty and against government abuse. So please remember to join us. Go to libertyguard.org and join us once again for Bob Barr's Laws of the Universe. Thank you.